Over. Okay, working our way down. Paper towel holder. You got an appliance garage, as they call it, with an outlet in the back. The outlet does need a cover, but the outlet's in the back. That's where I kept the knife block, and the toaster went back there. You'll notice here the sink, and also the it's for filtered water. I've never used it. There's a canister underneath. My guess would need to be replaced. I've just never used it, but I have it turned off, as a matter of fact. This here sink, I'm running off the water tank. This sink sometimes leaks a little bit from back here. Probably needs just a replacement cartridge. Actually, if I was going to do it, I just pull this out, go to Home Depot or Lowe's, put in a $40 faucet, and you're good. You should be able to replace that. I did it in my last RV. I don't see why you couldn't do it here. Double basin sink, real nice. Nothing above you, so if you need to wash things, you're not going to be clanging on anything like that. Outlet underneath, so if you want to plug in a blender or whatever, you're good to go. There is an oven though, there is a stovetop, 3-burner stovetop here. Previous owner didn't use it that much. I've used it a little bit. I usually light it with a match. This lighter, just like on your grill here, it doesn't always work, but so this actually draws off of the propane tank we saw outside. There we go. So you see, just have to click it a couple times and it works. Of course, make a liar out of me. So like I said, sometimes you just use a match if that doesn't always work. So for the amount of times you need it, a match isn't a big deal here. Below that, you have drawers, 3 drawers. One big one in the bottom for pots and pans and things like that. Neat compartment here, just like the home kitchens have, for your sponges and things like that. Underneath here, it's a little hard to see, there we go, Lazy Susan, plenty of storage for cleaning supplies, things just like you use at home. Garbage can, things like that. Okay. And then on the other side here, 3 more drawers and a storage compartment there. I love that for, like I said, my cell phone there. And last but not least in this area is a panel here for checking your levels. I will say that the tank monitoring is a little iffy. Black water, gray water tank, I don't usually trust these gauges. I sort of just know what I have in them. Fresh water should be okay. LP gas should be okay. Battery you can check here. Tells you your pump's on. So I had the water pump from when I was using the stove, or when I was using the faucet before. Turn that off. Pilot out means if you're running the water heater, if the pilot goes out, like I can turn the water heater on, it will come on as soon as it fires, and the water heater is fired, that light will go out. Just turn that off. You have a fan here, a little loud, but you have one. Hood light underneath there, really isn't too bright, but it's there. Water pump you can turn on here. This is one of 3 places to turn the water pump on. Water heater turns on here. You'll notice there's a switch missing here. I'm replacing the switch. It literally just broke 2 days ago. It was just from use. That's how you test the levels. I'll be ordering a new switch. You don't have to worry about that. That'll be in. Generator, this one of the 3 places to start it. This is another one. Start or stop it here. And 406.2 hours on the generator. As people come to look at the RV, they might want to hear it run, so that may change a little bit, but we're not going to be running it very long. And that's about it from the kitchen area. Over on this side of the kitchen area with all the counter space and everything, on this side we have some other things. We have switches, solar charging when the solar panels are working upstairs to maintain the battery. Remember, it's not to power anything, it's just to charge the batteries. That light will glow red. Since it's almost dark out here, we're not going to see that. This is where I control one of the 2 air conditioners. Works just like at home. This is also where I turn on the heat. So heater comes on here, I'd slide up the heat, set the temperature I wanted, put it on auto, and away I go. Same thing with cool, or if I just wanted the fan to circulate, once again that will go through the ducted. Heat will work when I'm not plugged into house power or the generator's not running. Air conditioning will not. Matter of fact, it just kicked in. Power line, this is something Winnebago comes out with. It sort of monitors power, so depending on how strong or how much service you have at the campground, it might shut something off for you the way it was explained to me. I've never had to really use it. The nice thing on here is when the generator's lit, you'll see in that window there how many amps you're drawing. So if you're drawing a lot of amps, you'll know that, you know, maybe you don't have enough power, because some campsites have different amp ratings, and then when you're on the generator, just tell you're on the generator. So the idea is, if you had both air conditioners running and the refrigerator, if the power couldn't be supplied that you needed, it would kick off kick off an air conditioner, so your refrigerator would stay running. Was how it was explained to me. All right. Now I just turned the heat on, so we'll have that come up, and that's what you're going to hear in the background. Sort of a corner cabinet here, real nice use of space, and a mirror so you can see yourself also, and then the breaker panel for all the electric in the coach, not the 12 volt, but all the electric. All right. A little bit of a, like I mentioned, the previous owner had a dog at one point, which is why we replaced the carpet. Sort of chewed up a little bit there, and also you'll see the edge is chewed a little bit there, and it's done a little bit down farther as well. Okay, walking into the bedroom. This is a queen size bed. This is a brand new bed last year from Sleepy's. It's not a cheap, you know, it wasn't a cheap bed. It wasn't the most expensive, but it wasn't a cheap bed. Bedding doesn't come with it unless you really, really want it. But I doubt you will, because I think that's a full comforter. So once again, more day-night shades and a window crank to open the window here. Same thing on the other side. This is the only window that doesn't have the nice day-night shades. I don't know why. If I had to guess, I'd say because they got broken from people sleeping there with their heads. I would assume you can probably find used somewhere, or something that you can match the other ones that are here. Maybe it wouldn't match color exactly, but some sort of RV surplus place. You get something that would be close. I would try that if it's a big deal for you. A little bit of a side table here, 3 drawers, a power outlet. That's an emergency window, so those red handles you flip up, that would swing out, so you had to get out in emergency, you'd get out, no problem. Just watch your step. Here we have another control for the AC. This only controls this AC that's in this room, so once again, go to cool, set your temp, away you go. More lights. You'll notice I have some white, you'll notice it in the kitchen also probably, I have some white tape on top. Some of the labels for what the lights do have worn off over the years, so H for hallway, F for floor lights, and C for ceiling is what I did there, but you can do whatever you like. Bottom side here, that's where the water heater is. 3 drawers in here. So, and behind here is a cabinet. You could use the TV. This is included, just needs a remote, but the TV is included. And I'm also including one, because these are analog TVs. One of the tuners, if you remember, the government was giving away the discount a couple years ago, the analog to digital, digital analog converter, excuse me. So you plug this into the box, this hooks up to the antenna. I've never really used this TV before, because we don't really do too much TV watching. And you know, once we're in the bed, we just pretty much sleep and then get up and you're outside, because that's sort of why you're camping. But there's power, there's antenna, and there's 12 volts behind there too. So if you had a 12 volt cigarette lighter powered TV, you could use that. This slides out so you can spin it, so you could watch it in bed. These shelves all adjust depending on what your TV size is. On this side here, this is a cabinet, or excuse me, huge closet. Turn the light on here so you can see. You can see here 2 rods, one here, one over here for 3. A shelf. Shelf does not adjust. Somebody put shoe racks in at one point. That wasn't me. Plenty of storage on the floor. When they did the carpet, they actually did in here as well, and they sort of screwed the doors up. They don't exactly slide as well as they used to. This one on the left slides okay. The one on the right, you sort of got to fuss with it a little bit. So, and even this one's. But for the amount of time I used it, it wasn't a problem. Speaking of storage, let's see if I can do this with one hand while holding the camera. Underneath the bed here, plenty of storage. So for if you had, you know, things you didn't want to use every day, maybe things you just want to travel with you, you know, duffel bags you weren't going to use. Maybe if you have boats and you know you're traveling stuff back and forth, you know, with life preservers and things like that. If you like scuba diving, you could store stuff there. You know, there's no shortage of storage in this RV between outside and inside, and the big closet. Notice more ducts for the air conditioning, and then you have a heating vent right here, which I talked about, and that is blowing hot air. So I'm actually going to shut off the heat. All right. So you can see one of those pathway lights here, so you can see where you're walking. So once again, it's going to go back here, shut that heat off. So heat blows real nice and warm, but hopefully you won't need that too much. So we're going to shut that off, and that fan will stop running after a little bit. All right, let's take a look at the bathroom in this RV. One thing, this is one of the reasons we bought this one. I'm going to pull out here. You notice that in traditional RVs, and maybe other ones you're looking at, there's an aisle down the center. But in this one, there isn't. There's an aisle on the side, a side aisle. And what does that do for you? What that does for you, rather, is allows you the bathroom to be separate. So I'm going to walk back into the bedroom here. I'm going to see that I can go to the bathroom, access the bathroom from here. Or if I come around this side from the living area, I can access the bathroom from here. In the house, this would be called a Jack and Jill bathroom. And the nice thing about this is twofold. One is if someone's using the bathroom, I can get to the bedroom. And if someone's sleeping and then someone starts using the bathroom, they can still get out of the bedroom. They don't have to wait for that person to be done in the bathroom. It makes it like a totally separate room. And it's really nice. So if you have guests that maybe not a family, if you're two couples or something like that, then you can at least get to the bathroom and not have to worry about it getting awkward and you got to walk through the bathroom and all that. But it's a traditional bathroom just like anything else. You have a toilet here, which is a porcelain toilet for the top piece here. Is actually porcelain, looks like you have at home. Shower. This is actually a pretty big shower, and we noticed that it has the skylight, which we saw earlier from up on the roof, and there's also a bar here for hanging clothes, bathing suits, etc. that comes out. As I mentioned earlier, you can see in the corner here that there's been some caulking done, and I see in the corner it's sort of separated a little bit at one point, and that's why I think there was a little bit of damage outside. Some of the faucets have peeled a little bit. That gold plate has come off, but it still works fine. The curtain here, it's okay. It gets the job done, but you know, it's a little bit worn, but it works. Now, one thing I want to point out here. I have never seen standing water in this RV, meaning from the roof leaking. However, it looks a little dark up there to me. Now, as I mentioned, the gentleman I bought this from used this quite a bit. And I know even in the manual it says if you use your RV quite a bit, you're going to suffer with humidity problems and things like that. So I'm thinking this discoloration just because he used this all the time, basically lived in it for 2 years. So while he was going through a divorce, actually. So I think that's where some of this comes from. I have never seen any water damage. I don't know if there was at one point and somebody fixed it. I can't really speak to that. As far as the toilet goes, you're going to see this. You're going to see a heating register on the floor next to the toilet, and this little clip right here. There's a sprayer. It actually lives underneath here in the cabinet. I broke it, and I replaced the connection to the toilet, and I ordered the wrong one. It was more expensive for me to literally just throw it out and buy a new one. It was more expensive for me to ship it back and to get a new one than I just live with it. The sprayer's here. If you ever want it, it's a part you can just replace in the back. When you come look at the RV, I can show you. That's a big deal. You can use the hose at town. A little piece of Velcro here, something simple just to keep the door open so it doesn't keep sliding. Once again, more lights, overhead light, vanity, and also the pump. So this is the third place you can turn on the pump. So when you're not hooked up to the water faucet, the water at the campground, like if we're not here, I can throw the pump on, and the water will continue to pump out of the tank, which we saw earlier. And I turn the pump off when I'm done. A little bit of discoloration in the bottom of the sink. Once again, was used quite a bit. We have here nice big mirror, lights above like Hollywood lights, and also we have 3-tiered shelving here for your vanity. So if you want to put your razor or things like that in there, good to go. A little bit of damage from probably deodorant or something up in there, but you see how that nothing structurally damaging. These do not adjust, these shelves. And then you have some storage underneath, shelf in the middle, keep the RV stuff, toilet paper, things like that in there. Now, one thing I want to point out, you see this split in the floor right here, and there's another one over on the other side. When we replace the carpet, I'm going to show you this over here. I don't know why somebody would just cut that. The only thing I can think of is when this RV was new, it probably had plastic over the linoleum, and somebody probably cut this with a knife and just went too far, or somebody was just, I don't know why you'd do that. When we put the carpet in, I believe there was another one right here, and I think we covered it to cover the one. All right. I mentioned earlier that this is next to the bed here, that there's rear heat. I never use it. I just gave it a try, and it's nice and warm blowing out of here. If I remember correctly, the way these work is they actually take coolant lines from the engine, so you don't have to burn propane and circulate it back here. I've never looked into this one because it's sort of buried underneath there, so I don't know it for a fact, but the last Winnebago I had did that. But either way, it's blowing hot air. so it's nice and warm there.